What the fuck, Canada? Give me a second, because this story's freaking wild. An international student in Canada on an expired permit was allowed to stay after attempting auto theft. So this guy was on a study permit, and he went to college, but then he got kicked out of college. You'll see why in a second. Then he stayed in Canada, illegally. So it's already bad enough as it is, and he should have been deported right then and there. But he went on to do amazing things. And I'll let you guess real quick which country he was from. Are we surprised? So he was enrolled in college, but after 2 semesters, ended up homeless, jobless, and by his own admission, addicted to weed. And right then and there, he should have left the country because he's not following his visa anymore, but regardless, he stayed. And then his study permit expired on July 30th, 2024, so he was also without status anymore in Canada when the relevant event took place. What are we talking about here? Well, he flew to Vancouver after some guy offered him a job over there as long as he helped him do a little errand. And that little errand was steal from a BMW dealership, because that's what normal people do when they get offered jobs. They steal cars. So he was subsequently arrested, but Crown prosecutor did not pursue criminal charges. But we surprised here because they said that he was a dupe. He had been duped. Regardless, he was referred though to CBSA for deportation because he was now clearly inadmissible to Canada for participating in organized crime. But we know where this is going because this is fucking Canada. The tribunal member, Marianne Kingman, the judge, basically said that I find that the respondent was a dupe whose personal circumstances led him into trouble. See, I mean, whenever I have issues, clearly I go steal cars as well. It was trouble that a local prosecutor did not consider worth pursuing for a domestic criminal charge. She went on to say that there are reasonable grounds to believe the respondent committed the domestic crime described by the minister as attempted theft of a vehicle, identity fraud, and forgery. Just tack it on. However, committing a domestic crime is not the same as having knowledge and involvement in an organized criminal organization. Okay, who cares? And then he was allowed to stay. He was allowed to stay in Canada. Disregard the fact that he has no status here. He did not even abide by the terms of his first visa. He's got no visa. He's from India illegally here, and then he commits crimes. Who cares if it's organized crime or just a petty theft? It's a crime. We welcomed you into our country. We opened our doors, and then you lied to us. You did not do what you were supposed to. Then you hurt our society by stealing from an honest business. Why are you here? Why isn't our government upholding our laws? And why are we giving treatments to foreigners who clearly show contempt for our way of life, our culture, and our society? In Canada, we're all equal under the law. Unless you're not actually from here, then you get special privileges. But if you're from Canada, screw it. You're going to jail, bud. This is why people are losing faith in our institutions.
Migrant truck driver just pled guilty to killing a mother and her son in Montreal. The man, an Indian national, was driving and he was playing a game on his phone and he killed a 42-year-old mother and her 11-year-old son in Montreal. The lives of Canadians for that man was worth less than playing a mobile game on his phone. That's the reality. That's what we're facing right now. We have thousands upon thousands of drivers who do not care about the lives of Canadians. How many families will be killed until the government starts to act? How many people will die before starting to maybe piece together that these guys shouldn't be driving trucks? This is a major policy failure on our governments. Every Canadian that dies at the hands of these truckers, our government is responsible for.
You know you can get up to 82,000 Canadian dollars from Canadian government for doing nothing. Yes, I am talking about refugees. If you become refugee in Canada, they will pay you up to $224 per day. That is $140 for accommodation and around $84 for food, and that too a tax-free. So it means around $82,000 a year. It looks like a paid vacation to me, but it looks like free money to me. And in addition to this, an average Canadian earns up to 63,000 Canadian dollars in a year, and he pays over 20% in taxes. Then if he buys something, he has to pay 15% again. Although refugee has to pay that, and there are a lot other things that Canadian has to suffer. So become a refugee in Canada and get up to $82,000 free for the whole year.
It's come to our attention on social media that, let's just face it, there's a lot of immigrants that have come into the country. Not all immigrants, but there's a large percentage of immigrants that have come in the past 3-4 years that, were not that innocent. And I'm going to say it. You're going to hate me for it, but the truth needs to be said. There were some immigrants that were abusing the system. How were they abusing the system? Well, we all know about how certain groups of international students started fighting for asylum, which is a big no-no. That was wrong. And then there was the abuse of the social benefit system. Okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but shouldn't immigrants that are coming into the country, which is letting them in, look to add value rather than take from the system? Now, a lot of these immigrants figured out certain loopholes and they were abusing the system. And this is wrong.
Right now, a lot of people in Canada are frustrated. And honestly, this frustration is no longer only about immigration. It's about the entire system. Many Canadians feel like the cost of living is getting out of control. Rent is becoming impossible to afford. Jobs are harder to find. And even healthcare is struggling more than before. Because of that, whenever stories come out about people abusing the immigration system or overstaying temporary visas, public anger grows very quickly. But in my opinion, it's important to stay balanced and not blame every immigrant for the actions of a few people. Canada itself was built by immigrants, and many hardworking people genuinely come there to create a better life and contribute positively. The real problem is weak policies, poor management, and governments failing to properly control the system. Social media is now full of emotional videos and outrage, but anger alone will not fix anything. Canada needs stronger and fairer immigration rules, proper enforcement, and leaders who actually listen to the concerns of ordinary citizens, while also treating legal immigrants fairly. At the end of the day, people want safety, affordable living, stable jobs, and a future they can believe in again. If those problems continue to be ignored, frustration will keep growing. So personally, I think Canada now needs honest conversations, balanced leadership, and practical solutions instead of division and endless blame. Because this issue is no longer just about immigration anymore, it's about the future direction of Canada itself.